We've come to Rome to celebrate a birthday. Katy has me on a scavenger hunt today, and the final location will hold a surprise. Let's get started. Clue number 1. Your day begins where a vision came to a pope of an angel appearing to end a plague and bring hope. I think that's Castel Sant'Angelo. Let's see if we can find clue number 2 there. Clue number 2. Found it. Your next clue takes you where the water is blue and your wishes come true. I mean, the most famous fountain here is Trevi Fountain, so let's go try to find clue number 3 by the Trevi Fountain. Pretty easy to find. Clue number 3. Stop roaming around, well played, and get to the building where people would fight on the ground. Alright, well, the number 1 place for fighting and competitive events has to be the Coliseum, so let's get over there.
Made it to our last destination, so I'm gonna give Will his final clue.
Hey there.
Huh?
Final clue. It's much easier to find it with Katy right here. Looks like this last clue is for you, and we hope you can figure it out too. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is what's underway.
What are you thinking?
Who the hell knows what I'm thinking? I mean, it's in there. Things are happening.
That's what she said. If you want to take it out and rotate it on the metal thing and then put it back in, we can do that too. I can help you with that. Is it good, you think?
I mean, the dough is cooked.
It looks great. I think you did it.
Yeah, I don't know if the cucumbers are cooked or anything like that, but cheese is melted. Dough is a little bit crispy. I mean, the other side could be a little bit crispier, but I don't want to chance it.
Good.
We just went to the doctor for my 13-week ultrasound, and I'm sorry if I look so tired, but doctors apparently outside of the US do appointments like later in the evening, and so our appointment was scheduled to be at 5:45, and we only just left there 20 minutes ago and walked home, and it's now 8:20. This was definitely one of the least favorite experiences we've had with doctors throughout this whole journey, and the one that felt most American, because we got there even earlier than our appointment time. We went back into the room pretty quickly with the doctor's assistant to kind of start writing down some of our history and stuff like that, but we were with her for about an hour before we even got to see the doctor, because the doctor was just seeing other patients. So that felt very American, where you don't really see the doctor, and then when you do see the doctor, it was rushed, because when the doctor did finally come in, she was kind of rushed and not as friendly as other doctors we've had in our experience. So kind of like just trying to get through the appointment, and maybe we were the last one, and she just wanted to be done for the day. In America, I've felt like, yeah, when you do see the doctor, it's rushed and you just move on, and most of the times the assistants and other people do most of the work. And on top of that, we went in knowing we wanted to do, get an ultrasound and then do the blood work and the urine test, which this doctor started throwing out all these other tests to do, which we weren't expecting, and they were a lot pricier, and we didn't go to a doctor that would go through our insurance, because we're like, oh, okay, we know the cost of what it is, because I had messaged the doctor's office beforehand and they told us the price of the ultrasound and the visit, which they quoted us $350. And then when we got there, the doctor told us it was going to be $600 for the visit and ultrasound. So I was like, but wait, like I messaged the office, like I wanted to come prepared and know how much this was going to cost, because if it was affordable enough, we could have just done it without insurance, and the price they quoted us was like $75. Like, okay, that's fine, we can go do that without insurance. And it's a little frustrating because we chose to go to this doctor because it had such great high reviews, and I was like, okay, well, we're in Romania, let's not worry about using the insurance, let's just find a really good doctor that could speak English and all that stuff. And it's just unfortunate because I don't know how this doctor had so many high reviews. It did kind of taint the experience a little bit because the doctor kept trying to push these other exams that she said were urgent but then weren't urgent, and like all this stuff. So we settled on her just writing these down as her recommendations, and honestly I think we're just gonna go back to a doctor in a couple weeks and see how, like, if it's important to do this stuff, because I wanted to come back home and do my own research on these tests to see if I needed to do them. But once I did get into the room and we did do the ultrasound, seeing our little nugget made it all better.
Watch your head.
Well, we were like, it's so awkward to film there, so we're like, I need to come in here. So we're like, the door's open, come on in.
Yeah. Like here. And the spine. Starts with the back.
He turned to show you his spine.
Yes.
Showing you his butt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the arm. Yeah. Hand.
There we go.
Look, that's
Yeah.
good. That is the
Yeah.
the leg.
Oh.
Wow.
Now you see the leg.
Yeah. He's kicking.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes. You see if
Well, I say he, I don't know. He or she.
So here we have the heartbeat. Let me put it here.
Oh, you see the heartbeat even?
Yeah.
Wow.
Here is the heartbeat. It's very good.
You could see it. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll show it again. So we have
Wow.
It's like how the elephant sound.
Yeah.
here it's good. So the baby stays like this. Here is the legs.
Uh-huh.
Let me. Now it's good with the leg. Let me see here. I will see how big is the leg. So femur leg from here to here, and it's good. So we have here. Here is the bottom of the baby.
Okay. Okay.
Here is the how you say it?
Spine?
The spine.
Yeah.
Yes, the spine.
Okay, it looks like the spine.
Mhm. Here is the heart,
Uh-huh.
and we have here.
Is that the different color you're talking about?
Here we see here the red and white. That's the blood flow and outflow and inflow.
Okay.
Here we have the stomach. This
Okay.
one. Here we have the head. You can see. So it's with the head downwards. Here's
Okay.
the head. Here it's a hand.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Here's the heart. Here's the bottom, and it stays with the legs up.
Mm-hmm.
Now I need to see how big is the abdomen as well. Here, abdomen circumference to see how big it is. And it's good. The amniotic fluid is this black thing here, all around, and it's normal quantity. This is the placenta, it's okay. The placenta is a little close to the external, to the cervix. Trying to get more on the face. Still small.
The baby is measuring 14 weeks, so the baby's a lot bigger than where I'm at 13 weeks, so that's cool. And the baby was just like moving around so much. We saw its legs and its arms. It turned at one point and we saw its spine, and we literally saw the heart like beating. Not only did we hear the heartbeat, but we saw the heart beating. That was really cool because we didn't see that the first time. The baby was like literally, it looked like it was about to do a cartwheel. Like it's just kicking around in there. We might have a little future football player in our midst. Definitely getting to see the ultrasound and just seeing that our baby's moving around and healthy is the piece that I needed to know, like, okay, we're doing good. Baby's growing and growing, you know, healthy and big. So that definitely made the night better. Not the best experience, but still, you know, glad that we did get to see our baby and see that the baby's healthy. But yeah, I think we might go do some research on some of these tests and see if we really need them, and potentially we move countries next week. So potentially we were only planning on going like once a month, but we might go sooner depending on if we need these exams. And I never did do my urine or blood work. Mainly, like, she was gonna schedule it to do it tomorrow morning, but at that point we're just like, we don't feel comfortable with this doctor anymore. So we can try and find another doctor to do it here, or we can just wait till next week and do it then. Overall, not great, not terrible. But again, glad we got to see our little baby.
First of all, very important, we don't lean on these fences, we do not sit, we do not stand on it. We want to keep it as longer as possible, and as I said,
it's time for another update. I am currently 22 weeks and I am on a cruise ship going across the Atlantic Ocean. Yes, that's right. Totally cruising, being pregnant. Who thought? So as we were thinking of coming over to Florida, clearly the obvious way to get back to the United States is by plane, but we had thought, what about those transatlantic cruises? So we started looking into the transatlantic cruises to see how much it would cost and even if I could go on being pregnant. And we're on a Royal Caribbean ship, and their policy is you can't be 23 weeks or further along in your pregnancy while you are on the ship. And so luckily enough, we found a cruise that was going to be while I was 21 and 22 weeks pregnant. So one of the other policies was you had to get a doctor's note. So while we were in Vienna, we went to find another doctor just for a checkup, but also to get a note from the doctor stating that I'm good, healthy, and there were no issues with me being on the ship at this point in time, and also confirming my due date. And so we were able to find a great doctor, like a 10-minute walk from our apartment.
Oh yeah.
Gut. So, okay. Perfekt.
Oh my goodness! What? And that experience was very good. It was definitely the shortest of all the 3 doctors' experiences, but she was very kind, and I think it was just short maybe because she didn't know as much English, but it was fine. She was still able to do an ultrasound. We saw the baby, everything was totally healthy, and she gave us the thumbs up that yeah, you can go on the cruise. We didn't want to book this until we had that note in hand, and I had gone at like 17 weeks or something like that. And she's like, well, I really should wait to give you a note a little bit closer to the cruise. And I said, okay, that's fine, but can you give us one now and then we'll come back and get an updated one later? And she was totally okay with that, so she gave us one at that moment, which she actually wrote on that note like it was a flight instead of a cruise, so we needed to get an update note from her regardless. But with at least the note in hand, we felt comfortable with booking the cruise. So we did. Like, we booked this cruise, 3 weeks before it actually set sail, which is mind-blowing. We've never really done something this late in the game. Like, we usually have things booked pretty, far in advance, as much as in advance as we can be. And so when we called in to book the cruise, we confirmed everything about the pregnancy stuff, and the guy told us, oh, you actually don't need a note anymore. And we're like, well, okay, we have one, so we're gonna bring it anyways, and we'll still go get the updated note from the doctor, which we did. And then leading up to the cruise, he said that like the day before you have to fill out a healthcare form, and on that form you just have to like check yes or no about being pregnant or something like that. So when the time came when we actually did the health form, the only question it asked was, are you going to be 23 weeks pregnant while on a cruise? Or something along those lines. And all you had to do was hit yes or no. There was no like uploading any type of letter or any other documentation. It's just your word. And I guess that just covers them in case something does happen. And I looked into the reason as to why they have that limitation, and it's because while they do have doctors on board, they don't have anyone that could, if you were to go into early labor anytime after 23 weeks, the baby has a good chance of living if it's, if it has the proper care. And so doctors on the ship wouldn't have the proper care to help you or the baby in case something like that happened. And so I totally get the policy, makes sense. I totally understand that. I'm just glad we were able to find something that we could do this cruise during this time. We are basically nearing the end of our cruise. We got one more day at sea, and nobody has asked anything. There's never been another time where someone's like, oh, you look pregnant, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. Honestly, there are guys on the ship with bigger bellies than me. And plus, I've been wearing really loose clothes anyways because it's just more comfortable. I've been able to do most of the things on the ship. I mean, thank God my second trimester has been a lot better. I haven't been motion sickness on the ship, but I meant to say I haven't felt nauseous for pregnancy reasons. And the only thing that I have been dealing with during my second trimester is heartburn, which for the most part on the ship, the food hasn't given me heartburn, which is good. Yeah, and I've been able to do most things. The only thing that I couldn't do with Will was the bumper cars and the iFly, which totally makes sense. It's fine. I'm not sure I would have done the iFly regardless. But yeah, everything else I've been able to do. Like I said, I did get motion sickness, but that was because of the ocean. And we're crossing the Atlantic, which would be a little bit more toppy than the Caribbean or somewhere else. And plus, we were also avoiding a big storm in the North Atlantic. So because of that, the waves were rocky, which made me motion sickness. But honestly, because the whole first trimester I was feeling nauseous, it was nothing new to me, so I just dealt with it. Another perk about being on a cruise ship during pregnancy is that you have food at your disposal 24 hours a day. And while I do love cooking, it's been nice to have a break not to worry about cooking and just being able to walk into the windjammer and getting whatever I want. I haven't had like weird cravings like people usually do. But it is good to walk in and be like, okay, what am I in the mood for, and just eat whatever I want. Now I will say, some people, they say they eat a lot more during pregnancy or they're more hungry or whatever. For me, I can barely fit anything in my stomach. Like, I put 3 scoops of something on my plate, like small things, and I'm stuffed. But then the good thing is 2 hours later, when I do get hungry again, I can just go find food. So that's been nice. Another thing that I forgot that I haven't been able to do is the jacuzzis, but that's okay. There's plenty of pool space, there's plenty of loungers to lounge out in the sun, and that's just been nice and calming and very relaxing, which is different than what our life usually is, because we are just out filming all the time. And the days that we did go out on port and see different cities, nothing was different. I mean, that's normal for us to walk 8 miles a day and go explore, so that was not an issue at all. I will say I have been very tired, but that's not because of pregnancy, I don't think. It's because of almost every other day we're changing the clocks an hour to try and get us back to US time, which I guess in hindsight, like, that's actually good, because now we're on US time and our bodies are already adjusting to it before we even get back to Miami time. This has been a unique pregnancy experience that I'm not sure everybody else gets to do, and we've had a blast, and now we are headed back to the States to just start finding a doctor where we're gonna go, you know, and kind of get all that situated. We'll keep you posted on what happens next.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Effectors, the world's newest superheroes.
I'm officially 25 weeks. We are back in the States, and I just had my very first appointment here in Florida. And I was most looking forward to this so I could see the differences between appointments here in the States versus the 3 appointments that I've had abroad. First and foremost, what caught me off guard was the amount of paperwork and how early I had to get here. So typically we go early to the appointments abroad anyways, but because I was a new patient here, I had to come 30 minutes earlier, and I had to fill out all this paperwork and pretty much just sign my life away, like all these liability forms. And it makes sense. I mean, I feel like, you know, any little thing could be a lawsuit, so they need to cover themselves. But yeah, didn't have to do any of that abroad, just here. And then once the paperwork was filled out, I still had to wait, I think maybe like another 20 minutes to get in to see not even the doctor first. I had to see some kind of nurse that basically took some info for me, and then maybe waited another 10 minutes to actually see the doctor. Well, no, not even a doctor. There were so many letters, like registered nurse practitioner, I don't know. Pretty much a doctor. And then with her, it was very just fast, quick. She measured my belly, she did the heartbeat of the baby, everything was good, but it was very fast paced, like her portion. She said, we need to do your blood work and your labs and all this stuff, and you know, we'll have to do your anatomy scan in a few weeks. And so she basically said, these are the things you need to do. You're gonna see someone else to set up all those appointments. So my time with her was about maybe like 10 minutes, and then we left and went back out into the waiting room and waited another probably 10 minutes again before another nurse came in and brought us back to the room again. And this time it was to schedule everything. It was different because I didn't have a sonogram this time, and I was expecting to have one, but apparently they couldn't do it, or they wanted to wait, I don't know. But most importantly was I knew I was gonna need to do the blood test, but I also needed to do like my glucose test, and so I couldn't do any of that yesterday, because that was yesterday, because it was too late in the day. So I came back this morning to do all the blood work and the glucose test. Today was much quicker. Basically came in, took the bottle for the glucose test, waited an hour like you're supposed to, did my blood work, and now I'm done. So overall, the process here in the States is much longer, and that's what I was expecting, just a lot of waiting around, and then also expecting to basically see 3 to 4 different people. But the good news is those 3 to 4 different people were all so friendly and very welcoming and answered all our questions, especially the last lady that took our scheduling appointments. She answered questions about the hospital, because right now we're at a clinic, but they're connected with the hospital that we're going to be giving birth in. So she answered all those questions. Everyone was really kind, and yeah, I think this is going to be a good process. It's just, yeah, different than abroad, because abroad we just saw the doctor right away. The doctor did everything. She put everything in the computer. She did the sonogram right away. Another cool thing about here is, because maybe it's just this hospital because it's really big, they have an online portal where my lab results will pop up in there, and I can look at everything there. I can check my insurance, I can check appointments, all that stuff is in the portal. They have an online version and an app, so that's fantastic. I'm really excited to give birth at this hospital because they were just speaking all the right terminology, and they don't say, oh, we suggest skin to skin, but like, we want you to do that. You get your first hour with your baby. You know, we highly recommend breastfeeding. And so it's all the things that we were looking for, and they were speaking that language without me like asking the questions yet. So I'm really confident in that, and I'm looking forward to giving birth here. And we're going to be by family, which is the big reason why we're doing that. So we've got another appointment in a few weeks before we take a last-minute trip before the baby.
All right, I had to share this with you guys to kind of just document this. Katy and I want to be surprised at birth. We don't want to know whether we're having a boy or a girl. But I don't know what happened last night, but last night I had a dream that we found out that we're having a girl. and I don't know like all the details, but basically Katy said, oh, the doctor gave it away. She said something like she's moving around or she's getting big or something to indicate the gender of the baby. And then like the next scene in my dream was like the baby was, I don't know how babies are old they are, but like 1 or something like that, in a pink onesie, sitting on Katy's lap with like a full head of hair. So I don't know if we're gonna have a boy or a girl, but that was kind of the vision that I had in the dream. Let's see if I'm right or not.